All right, so Dr. Holly, here's the question I was thinking as you were talking about those different groups. And I love the way you call them bridgers and the inspirers. I'm wondering, if we go back 20 or 30 years ago, was there a style there that was more common or more successful? Has that changed? Do you find that any particular style works better in 2020?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So the people that used to be trained to do sales were more assertive in nature. They basically told you what you needed and why you needed it, and darn it, you need to do it. And we kind of went along with it because that was the function of a salesperson. But that also ended up over time giving salespeople kind of a black eye, if you will, in a lot of instances. So salespeople have learned that the fine art of subtlety, being able to create those relationships, being able to be more influential, or more inspirational or more bridging in nature rather than being assertive, actually draws in more people in the long run. And not only does it draw them in initially, it keeps them coming back because they feel safe and comfortable with you in your role as a salesperson.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, let's say somebody's listening right now and they've been selling for a long time or managing people for a long time. And when they self-evaluate, they look at themselves. I'm a little bit more of a negotiator or
Mhm.
a assertive individual.
Mhm.
Are there things they can do? What
Yeah.
can they learn today that maybe helps them, kind of bridge the gap they need to communicate better today?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And it's sometimes really hard because sometimes it's actually a part of our personality, that the way that we choose to be influential as well. But we can learn new tricks. We know this. Adults can learn new things. So
Hmm.
if we just kind of bring it back to the point of how can I build first a relationship with it, knowing that if you have a relationship, you're going to get residual sales. People are going to keep coming back for more. You don't just want to do a one-off. I love to talk about my own business. I literally have never had a client only use me once. I've never had that yet.
Very
There may
good.
come a day, but that's one of my areas that I feel very comfortable bragging on, because I love my clients and I go out of my way to make sure that I cultivate that relationship. And once I have that relationship, they might not come back for a year, but they're going to eventually come back. And that's what we want from a sales perspective. We don't want to have to work hard and always come up with new, individuals, new organizations, new entities every single time we've got to go sell something. We want to create a relationship that's good enough that if we even change jobs, those people want to come with us, right?
Yeah.
So I think that if we just boil it back to, okay, instead of being negotiator or asserter today, I'm going to try to be Joe relationship. I think that's a good way to start.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. And I'm recalling I've worked with a number of sellers over the years and brought some people in that were had phenomenal careers, really good sellers back in the day, but they sold products where they didn't need to have that long-term relationship. There's a lot of products and services that are truly a one-off.
Yep.
You're
Yep.
selling them something they're not going to need for a long time. But the stuff that I've sold for the most part, we needed that relationship. I had clients for 10, 12 years. Relationship was important. I think some people can be successful in that one off and never learn those other features. But if they go to a company where you need that relationship, they better be prepared to learn something new.
And I want to add to that too. It used to be back when we were younger, obviously, you could count on going to one job and having one job and that one job forever. That is absolutely not how life works now. So don't ever find yourself in the position where you're saying, I'm never going to need to learn the relationship thing anyway. I only sell one offs, because pandemics will hit, right? Racial injustices will occur. I mean, things will happen, and all of a sudden you're out of a job and you've got to go find something else. And you better have that talent ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, because and that's never coming back, right? The
Right.
the
I agree.
future is going to be, and I think a lot of millennials they thrive in that, right? They
Oh,
want to
yeah.
keep moving around, so learning and expanding. So that's good stuff. One last question before we get back on topic, but this is good stuff.
I love it.
Is there much of a difference? We've got sellers and sales leaders both on hopefully enjoying this in this show. Do you find the same methods of influencing when we're trying to sell a client as opposed to when we're working with people that we're managing? Is it the same type of approaches, or is there a little bit different there?
I completely believe that they're the same. I really do. I've led many different entities myself. And I tell you what, if I had something that I had to get my staff on board with, I switched into sell mode. I really did. I had to become an influencer. I had to become somebody who could get them to follow along. And so I would use some of the same techniques that I would use perhaps if I was trying to sell my services. And it worked every time. If I approached it correctly, it worked every single time.
Yep. If your team believes in you and your message, they're going to get excited about it. You really,
If they trust you, if they respect you, all that back to that foundation, right?
mhm.
And you've established a relationship with them, then you're going to be able to influence them just like you would a new customer.
Yep, absolutely. When that trust, respect, when you communicate well, then the message is going to get there. So
Exactly.
we won't get to it today, but maybe for a future talk, I'd love to talk about emotional intelligence
I
because
love that topic.
phenomenal topic, and I'm convinced that most people are not born with that,
Right.
but they can learn it,
It
and
is
if they
learnable.
desire, and they just need to look at things a certain way. So maybe we'll get to that at some point.
Perfect.
All
I'd love
right,
that.
excellent. We'll be right back.